Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana. Jamuni Tira Vanatari. Jamuna Tira Vanatari. Tira Vanatari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanatari. Tira Vanatari. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Oh, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Prabhupada Paramhansa Pariva Jakacharya Siddhat Shesham His Divine Grace Abhayachar and Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagagudu Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki, Mathura Dham Ki, Dwarka Dham Ki, Navadi Dham Ki, Jagannapuy Dham Ki, Chamuna Mai Ki, Ganga Mai Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, Bhakti Deva Ki, Sambheda Bhakti Vinda Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Sri Siddhara Giridhara Ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki, Gopremanande. All glory to the Assembled Devotees. All glory to the Assembled Devotees. All glory to the Assembled Devotees. All glory to the divine lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Mukunda, I have somehow or other left my iPad in my office with all my notes on it. So can you please go like the wind? We need a Bhagavatam. On that little desk. Oh, that little desk. Om Namo, thank you. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Damaganadi Bisaha Kalanasa Dashamaisha Parana Konadodita Narayana Namaskricha Naram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. The Bhagavatam is Brinda's son. It is written just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali shall get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So we are reading from the 4th canto, chapter 27, text 28. Yes? Okay, we're in sync here. Maya nirupitas tubhyam patir atma samadhina navinandati loko yam tvam abhadram asamatam maya nirupitam tubhyam tabiratma samadhina navinandati lokoyam tvam abhadramasam Hare Krishna tvam abhadramasamatam maya narupitastubhyam patiratma samadhina navinandati lokoyam tvam abhadrams asamatam maya nirupitastubhyam patiratma samadhina navinandati samatam maya nirupitastubhyam patiratma samadhina navinandati lokoyam tvam abhadrama samatam maya nirupitastubhyam patiratma samadhina navinandati lokoyam Tvam Bhadram Asamatam Maya Nirupitastubhyam Patiratma Samadhina Navinandati Lokoyam Tvam Bhadram Asamatam. Mataji, Vaishnavi, you want to try it? Maya Nirupitastubhyam Patiratma Samadhina Navinandati Lokoyam Tvam Bhadram Asamatam Maya, by me, Nirupita, settled, Tubhyam, for you, Pati, husband, Atma, of the mind, Samadhina, by meditation, Na, never, Abhinandati, welcome, Loka, the people, Ayam, these, Tvam, you, Abhadram, inauspicious, Asamatam, unacceptable. Translation. The king of the Yavanas replied, after much consideration, I've arrived at a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can anyone accept you as his wife? Seems pretty logical. Also you say, the king of the Yavanas, the king of the Yavanas replied, after much consideration, I have arrived at a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can anyone accept you as his wife? Just as a sidelight, while we're waiting for the iPad to show up. Perfect timing. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Well, I'll finish because I started. Prabhupada, he had a very sweet relationship with Panchadevita Swami, and they used to joke, and Prabhupada would, he's the one who asked Prabhupada, first year in Mayapur, practically no one knew how to cook, everyone was sick, covered with mosquito bites, living in a construction site. Literally, it was a construction site, nothing was finished. And devotees were really having a rough time. Prabhupada says on a morning walk, devotees don't suffer. There's a long pause. You can hear it on the tape. There's a long pause while devotees are processing that. And Panchadevita then says, Prabhupada, if the devotees don't suffer, exactly what are we doing? He was speaking for all of us, And Prabhupada laughs, and Prabhupada says, actually, that's all right, after this life, back home, back to Godhead, So there's another time in Los Angeles, Panchadevita, you can hear the morning walk, and he's going off on the householders, that the householders don't come to Mangalarti, and the mothers aren't doing, they're not going out on Sankirtan, they're home taking care of their children. He's just going off, And then after a while, Prabhupada doesn't say anything, Prabhupada just listening. And then Prabhupada says, you say that just because you're envious. And there's a pause. And Prabhupada said, actually, you're so unattractive, no one will marry you. That's why you're criticizing the householders. So Prabhupada would be heavy like that. So actually, unattractive and inauspicious. But let's read the purport. Prabhupada says, after much consideration, the king of the Yavanas decided to make the best of a bad bargain. Kalakanya, the daughter of time, anyone know what the daughter of time is? Old age. Yep. After much consideration, the king of the Yavanas decided to make the best of a bad bargain. Kalakanya was a bad bargain, and no one liked her, but everything can be used for the service of the Lord. The king of the Yavanas tried to utilize her for some purpose. The purpose has already been explained. That is, Kalakanya, as jara, or old age, the invalidity of old age, can be used to arouse the sense of fear in people so that they will prepare for the next life by engaging in Krishna consciousness. Om Gena Tamarandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Chakshushir Milikan Gena Tasmani Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you very much, Mukunda. And you did go like the wind. I'm impressed. We're talking about invalidity. Of course, now it doesn't work. This is life, isn't it? Come on, my little friend. There we go. Prabhupada called technology, it's quoting from Mahabharata, it's harsha shoka. It brings distress, some happiness, but an equal amount of difficulty. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let's leave it here. We'll do it this way. Thank you, Prabhu. I just wanted to say from yesterday's class, very nice class by Balaram, but about this progress. I was playing my natural position as devil's advocate. Takes one to know one. Material life, so-called progress, is like a balloon. You squeeze one end and the other end goes up. And you squeeze it, then it goes up in the middle. And you squeeze, it's the same, it's just it's proportioned differently. And Prabhupada says, you're carrying something on your head, it's heavy. And then you put it on your shoulder. Everyone knows that. Oh, what a relief. Then after a while, then that hurts. So you transfer to the other shoulder. Oh, what a relief. So it's the same burden, it's the same pain. You're just getting a momentary relief and shifting it. So material life, fine. So they did a good job on polio. Of course, it's coming back now, by the way, especially in Afghanistan, because their Taliban are not allowing them to inoculate children. So it's coming back. It was practically eradicated. Nowhere in the world could you find it. Now it's coming back. Bubonic plague is coming back. Tuberculosis is coming back. Bubonic plague is the black plague of the Middle Ages. It's coming back. Anyway, we can go on and on about that. And now we've got COVID. So you squeeze it down, okay, polio, then you got COVID. You get rid of COVID, who knows what's next zoonotic disease, coming from eating animals in horrible conditions. So that's progress. It's really not progress. It's just, they just shift the burden around from one thing to another, that's all. But the actual level of relief, it's not, you don't get any relief. So there it is. But I wanted to say, first off, because we're talking, Prabhupada says, make the best of a bad bargain. And the old age, I can speak from practical realization, practical experience. Old age is no picnic. I was talking, you may remember Bhakti Nick. You know Bhakti Nick, who became initiated as Prabhupada Das. Such a nice devotee, And he's an expert. One of the things that he's very expert at doing is detail painting. And by that I mean he's the kind of guy that can paint the clouds on the ceiling, and make the pillars look like marble and, all that kind of stuff, and little angels in the corner. He can do that. Fine relief work. So he got a job one time up in La Jolla. And, we all know La Jolla. Oh, it's fancy, almost like the heavenly planets. Paramgati in SanDiego with an ocean view. So he went to the house, and big house, just like you can imagine. The gates are there, driveway, big house, overlooking the ocean. And it belonged to Joe Bonanno. Now, Joe Bonanno was one of the few mafiosos dons, godfathers, to actually get out alive. He was a tough old bird. I mean, he spent 20 years in prison and, had his car blown up twice and who knows how many murder cases, against him. So he was a real tough guy, Now, he was from South Philly. Now, it turns out that Prabhupada Das, Nick Bhakti Nicholas, was also from South Philly. And they bonded. So here's the guy, and the guy's got a pacemaker, he's got a walker, and he was sitting out by the pool, and he was talking to Bhakti Nick Prabhupada Das. And he said, Nicky, he said, old age, it ain't for sissies. My point being that he wasn't afraid of the IRS, he wasn't afraid of prison, he wasn't afraid of fellow mafiosos, he wasn't afraid of his car getting blown up, murder attempts, machine gun while he's tapping his leg. That he wasn't afraid of. You know what scared that tough old Joe Bonanno? Old age. That's what scared him. So here it's talking about here that it's actually, and it has a purpose. Is Krishna cruel? Why do good things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? Well, there's the example of Lord. Well, I wanted to say about where to start? There's the example of Lord Shiva, and he's traveling with his wife in disguise as two Brahmin renunciates. And they stop at the house of one rich man, and they beg some alms. And the rich man says, "You're just bothering me, go away. It's Sunday, I'm sleeping, you're knocking on my gate, run along." So Parvati, as we know from the Bhagavatam, who is it, Marchitaketu? Yeah, she's transcendently fiery. So she said, "Well, what are you going to do about that?" to her husband, "You should curse him." Lord Shiva said, "Yes, you're right. May all of your stock of grains increase. May your children all be intelligent. May your house, may all your cows be fertile. May your stock of gold triple." So she was a little surprised, but this my husband. He knows what he's doing. So then they went to then in their travels as disguised as ascetic Brahmins, they stopped at the house of a simple poor man, a simple hut like that. And he greeted them. Prabhupada says you can always offer a sitting place, some sweet words and a little bit of water. And Prabhupada said if you can't do that, if you're so misfortunate that you can't offer at least a little grass mat and some water and some sweet words, if you can't do that, Prabhupada said you can fold your hands and cry. And any person will understand. They'll be kind on you. Well, what can you do, So, but this, he provided a nice little sitting place and some nice sweets. And I remember traveling one time with a Namhat party in Bengal, and we stopped at a person's house, a villager's house. Simple hut, mud hut, thatched roof. He was sitting there with his wife, his first and only wife. He had his 3, intelligent, devoted children. And we had a feast. We had basmati rice. We had 3 or 4 veggies. We had, so it was a feast. And I remember visiting a friend of mine's house, a so-called friend, and his father owned 3 or 4 car dealerships and this and it was Gaudi Motors, Alhambra Motors. Whatever. They're up there. You see the signs everywhere in L.A. House by the sea. Trophy wife, dumped his first wife, dumped his second wife. And the guy was in so much anxiety, sitting in his sea view at his marble table with his, literally gold-trimmed, porcelain dishes, And the butler came and said, "Your dinner is served, sir." And took off the gold, whatever it was. And there was a bowl of barley water and 2 biscuits. Because he had an ulcer, he couldn't digest anything. So he... drowning in an ocean of happiness, so-called and here's this poor man. I don't know what the gross income, what do you call it, the net per capita income in West Bengal is, but it's not much, But this guy's with his faithful wife, and they were good partnership and nice kids. Everything was fresh, picked, practically 100 yards from his house, and it was a feast. So you tell me who's rich, you tell me who's happy, fine, how do you want to measure the thing? But the point I'm trying to make is that, what is the point I'm trying to make? Yes, so they thank you. Glad you're here, in many ways. So the rich man cursed them, got the benediction, make everything go nicely for you materially. At the poor man's house, he greeted them nicely, fed them nicely, whatever. So when they left, very satisfied, as they were outside, Parvati said, "So you should bless him." Lord Shiva said, "Yes. May your house burn down. May all your cows be barren. May your children all die." What? Because what is the real purpose? To become complacent in this world. As I've said many times before, if your house is on fire, and as you're running out through the kitchen, you think, "Hey, wait a minute. House is on fire. I better make a snack." The kitchen's so do you stop and make yourself a nice sandwich? No. if we actually understand what is our position. So the demigods take birth on the planet Earth. Why? It's a bad bargain. It's a short life, this material collapsible contraption. You know, they don't even get old in the heavenly planets, isn't it? Yeah, whatever your time is, it's like when your time's up, you just drop dead, but you don't become old and you know. I can tell, anyway, so to finish that point. So the point is that but why do the demigods take birth on the planet Earth? Because the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just here, and it's very short. The best of a bad bargain. Having a short life, they live for 10,000 years, or, you know, what they speak, the calculation of the life of Lord Brahma in the heavenly planet. But here you come down the earthly planet, you have a short life. It's just like, it's a blink of an eye. You come down, you engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, blink of an eye, you go back to God. It's, you know, it's like a bargain, you know, basement discount benefit. You know, one time only sale for no money down. Just come down here. So just to consider our good fortune that here we are. We just one life. It'll be over in no time. Give it to Chaitanya. So it's the best of a bad bargain. Another thing is getting old is a bad bargain. I mean, I can tell you, it is no Joe Bonanno. It's no picnic. It's not for sissies. But it's a very good thing. I don't like going through it. If I could avoid it, I would. But I'll tell you something. It's humbling. You have to depend on others. You think, what is this body? What do I want to go through? Why I want to come back again and go through this again? I'm done. Get me out of here. So it's actually Krishna's mercy. And on the other side, we were reading earlier about Narada Muni, how the daughter of time, Kanya Kumari, she couldn't touch Narada Muni. And you look at it, I was reading a purport the other day in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Prabhupada was saying, if you look at it, old age for a devotee, and, you know, sometimes Prabhupada would talk about himself, but he does it, you know, in a humble way. He doesn't want to come right out and say it. So Prabhupada was saying, sometimes we see that even in old age, a Vaishnava will become empowered. You know, Prabhupada's an old man, came to America, didn't know anybody. 3 heart attacks on the boat, and completely rocked the world. Just, it's inconceivable what Prabhupada accomplished. There was that Tarun Kanti Ghosh who went to see that the man made an apple. Zoop, you know. And he was talking to Prabhupada, oh, he made an apple. There was no apple. He made an apple. He was apple. Prabhupada, you know, just to finally get through to the guy to make a point. Prabhupada said, actually, I came to America with nothing, literally nothing. He couldn't change his 40 rupees. He had the $20 that he sold a set of Bhagavatams to that, Captain Pandya, the captain of the Jaladut. So practically nothing. And sat on the first officialdom representative of American government, a New York cop, said, hey, buddy, get off the grass. So you have Prabhupada sitting on the concrete with a little pair of cartels, doesn't know anybody, no money. So Prabhupada said, and I just from that faith in the holy name, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission and the order of his spiritual master. So Prabhupada said, this man, apple, so impressed that the yogi made an apple. Prabhupada said, so simply from that chanting, so many devotees came. So many books, so many festivals, so many deities, so many temples. And then Prabhupada said, and in every temple, there are so many apples. Apple chutney, apple halva, apple, fruit salad. So you make one apple. Oh! But what to speak of? So Prabhupada's talking about old age for a Vaishnava. Prabhupada says in an old age, Krishnadas Kaviraj was how old? 90 plus, isn't it? Krishnadas, who wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita, yeah, he's 90 plus. Sitting there, he could only write an hour a day. His disciples would help him go out on the banks of the Radhakund, on the edge there, and he would write. He only had the strength to write an hour a day. And if you read it, it's so blissful. You read in the beginning, he's explaining, I'm blind, I'm invalid, I can, please give me the strength to finish it. The Vaishnavas have asked me to write down these pastimes. Please give me the strength to finish. So you look at it, Prabhupada says the 6 Goswamis, how old were they? Rupa and Sanatan, and still they're writing. So for a devotee, old age does not conquer them. Rather, it becomes an impetus. You think, I don't have much time. I better get serious here. I can see the end. I can see the end. I don't know exactly how, I may be walking down the street and fall in a manhole. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I can see it's coming. So that's although it's a bad thing, for the Vaishnav, it's a very good thing. For the materialist, it scares the bejesus out of them. We were at a funeral. We were at that funeral. And it was a very sad thing, It was a nice young boy on the peak of everything. Finishing his last year of medical school, of residency. He was going to go out and be practicing doctor, wealthy family, loving family, Vaishnav family, so many things, And just killed in a car accident. No advance notice, nothing, So, and he lives in, and I don't hope this is not going to, I don't want to embarrass him because they're wonderful devotees, but, a gated community, double security guards. Did it stop Yamaraj? Prabhupada says fallible soldiers. So to have that awareness that what is this life? And it's very quick. So I guess I should look at my notes. We have a few minutes left. I also wanted to say, just for fun, we were talking, again as the devil's advocate, I was saying about, you're just dreaming. Oh, that was, I would say. So the devotees, the thing is it the brother or was it the husband of old age's fear? It says here, I forget which relative it is. The husband of old age, we have Kalakanya, the daughter of time is old age, and her husband is fear. So, but a devotee who knows, I'm going back to Godhead. Like when Prabhupada was there in Calcutta and they were dropping the bombs when that not Subhash Chandra Bose, was it Subhash Chandra Bose from the Indian National Army? Yeah? Marched up through Burma and they were bombing Calcutta, And Prabhupada had just made some nice khichdi, offered it to Krishna. Prabhupada was a fantastic cook. So the bombs were falling, everyone was running for the bomb shelter, and Prabhupada was thinking, I just made this nice khichdi. So Prabhupada said, if the bomb's going to fall, if it's going to hit me, it's going to hit me. So Prabhupada just took his nice khichdi. So devotees are fearless. I saw Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, 1970. Everyone was talking about the big one was coming, the earthquake. The big one is coming, buy that real estate in Nevada because it's going to be beachfront property, So all that stuff was going on. And in the middle of Bhagavatam class, I swear to you, in the middle of Prabhupada's giving Srimad Bhagavatam class, sitting on the Vyasasan, and everyone in California, this is the big one's coming. This is it. All the astrologers, all the guys out at Caltech with their seismic, readings. It's coming. We're on the San Andreas Fault. Prabhupada's, Pradyumna is reading the Sanskrit. And probably just about the translation, probably just about, and all of a sudden, sure enough, you feel the ground shaking, the chandeliers start swinging, the deities, it was where the museum is now, used to be the temple room, the accordion doors, they had wood doors, accordion, they opened up, you could see the devotees dressing the deities, couple devotees, ran out, completely panicked. Prabhupada looked up, checked out the scene, and kept right on reading, And, what are you going to do? Like when Prabhupada told Mukunda, they went to see the Indian Consulate General in San Francisco, and there was an earthquake, and they were on the 24th floor, and the building started to shake. And the man said, don't worry, the building is earthquake-proof. Prabhupada was completely polite. Okay, very good, very good. As soon as they got outside, Mukunda told me, Prabhupada turned to him and said, nothing is earthquake-proof. If Krishna wants to knock it down, what are you talking? So in the same way, when the chandeliers are, Prabhupada, if I'm going to go, why not go to, I can see the deities, I'm chanting Bhagavatam, and I was thinking, hey, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go with Prabhupada, So devotees are fearless, so they can say, well, that's just your blind faith, that's just your, you're just dreaming. I was in Prabhupada's room, and a man said, you're just dreaming, this is all a dream. You've just made a mindset. You've just adjusted your mind. Okay, I'm not afraid of death because, well, Krishna's, there's this big blue God in the sky and he's going to reach down and save me and I'm going to go on a flower airplane. Oh, spare me, Face up to it. You're going to drop dead and bury me under an apple tree, I can be good fertilizer. You're just dreaming. So Prabhupada said to the man, that was the man's premise. Prabhupada said, all right, sir, you say we're all dreaming. All right, let's accept your premise for a moment. If it's all a dream, then it doesn't matter what you're dreaming. There's no reality. There's no absolute truth. There's no witness. There's no future. So if it's all a roller coaster ride, then why not have a good ride? I mean, you have your dream, and it's, struggling hard and trying to, eke out as long, do not go gently into that long good night, but rage against the dimming of the light, and eat all that kale or, whatever it is to live as long as you can. So that's your dream, full of anxiety. He said, and our dream is, hey, when we die, we go back to Godhead. So if it's just a matter of which dream you believe, we got a great dream. So Prabhupada said, even if we're wrong, we're right. Because we're having a happy dream. Okay, it doesn't matter. There's no truth, there's no reality, there's no absolute. So just dream whatever you like. You want to dream the moon's made out of green cheese? Fine. So even if we're wrong and there is no Krishna, we're right because we're having the best dream. We're happy, we're chanting, we're dancing, we're not afraid, we're having a great time, right? And then Prabhupada said, but what if we're right, sir? What if there is karma? What if there's Krishna? What if there is Yamaraj? And what if there is a chance to get out of this thing and go back to Godhead? Then Prabhupada said, then we are really right. And Prabhupada said, and frankly, sir, you are really wrong. So even if there's no reality, why not have a great dream? And if it's true, back home, back to Godhead. So the devotees know how to make the best of a bad bargain. And that Krishna's all good absolute. What we were reading that the other day? It was saying how Krishna's all good absolute. We're saying how Krishna's the paragon of truth is Lord Ram, and he's coming as Vamanadev, and he's cheating. Or Nrsimha. There's a lot of incidents where Krishna cheats. Krishna comes as Lord Nrsimhadev as a cheater. So the Krishna's all good absolute. So even though old age seems to be a bad bargain, why anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the fact of the matter is, for the materialist, it's not a bad bargain. It's a good thing because it sobers him up. Like it says here, don't become complacent. People who just why do devotees suffer? Prabhupada gave different reasons. One of the reasons, we don't have time to go into all of them. One of the reasons is, Prabhupada said, just to give a good kick. Just like prema. What is the perverted reflection of prema? Kama, or lust, right? It has its opposite. Side of the coin. So the living entity is eternal, sat. That perverted reflection of sat in the material world is that we become comfortable, we become complacent in our position. Probably you pull a worm out of stool, not to be scatological or whatever. You pull a worm out of stool, does he say, oh, jeez, thank you, man, whew, that was really a bum rap, I'm going to go in the night, No, crawls right back in. So we are conditioned to think, whatever it is. I mean, people live in prisons long enough, horrible prison in Iran or, some nasty, nasty place. They learn to live on rats. They start thinking, oh, there's a fat rat. That'll be tasty. Something they would never. People live in latrines. They would never live in a latrine. But you buff it up and, well, I got my clean corner over here and I got my nasty corner over here. We accept. So the living entity becomes conditioned to think, well, it's not so bad. The answer to not so bad is, how you doing? Not so bad. That's what the man said when he fell off the roof before he hit the ground. It's no problem on the way down. Not so bad. Well, oh, geez, that didn't work out so well. So Krishna's all good absolute because even old age It sobers people up. What was it all about? What did I spend all my time doing? Did that really pay off? And what's it all about? So for the materialist, it's sobering. And for the devotee thinks, in the same way, let me go back to God and let me become serious. But it's the point. The serpent has poison teeth. We'll end here. The serpent has poisonous teeth. And sometimes you see people playing with it. Even a snake charmer. I saw this. It doesn't work being a snake charmer. I was in Bombay at the American Express getting some money for silver for the deities. Who knows how long ago. And there was a snake charmer out in front. This is 1974. So you can imagine, India was fantastic in those days. It was a lot of fun, actually. So there was a snake charmer out in front. And you know how is it the music that the snake's enchanted by? Anyone know? Exactly so. Because if you notice that snake charmer, in case you ever wanted to take up a second occupation, how that snake charmer is going like this, what's actually happening is he's keeping the snake off balance. Because the snake needs to have a certain distance, a certain angle to be able to strike. So he's getting ready to strike, and then he throws him off. So he's staying a step ahead of the snake, and the snake's always recalibrating how to actually strike. That's what's actually, you got to be sharp. You got to stay a step ahead. So I swear to you. I was watching the guy. There was a crowd, and he has a little basket out there. He has a little friend helping him. And a beautiful, so-called beautiful girl went by. And I swear to you, a moment's inattention. The guy looked, snake got him. Snake. And then, whoop, they grabbed the snake, they grabbed the basket. His friend, I don't know where they were going. They rushed off to get him some quick medical care, So, but how can one actually play with a snake? What needs to happen other than Raj? Who knows? And Vijay and Balaram. You break the fangs. I should have said Ram too, coming from Bengal. You break the fangs, then the serpent has no power. So the devotees, the fear of death, the black serpent of death, because the devotees know I'm going back to Krishna. The fangs are broken. So the devotees get the best of a bad bargain without any of the bad bargain. And the materialists get the bad bargain. Old age scares the daylights out of them, so they sober up. So Krishna is all good, absolute, but the pain is extracted for the devotee. So we should end there, and thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. He Govinda.